The Lancia Stratos HF, 1, widely and more simply known as Lancia Stratos, is a sports car and rally car made by Italian car manufacturer Lancia. The HF stands for High Fidelity. It was a very successful rally car, winning the World Rally Championship in 1974, 1975 and 1976. A Bertone-designed concept car called the Lancia Stratos Zero was shown to the public in 1970, but shares little but the name and mid-engine layout with the Stratos HF version. A new car called the New Stratos was announced in 2010, which was heavily influenced by the design of the original Stratos, but was based on a Ferrari chassis and engine. History: Bertone had no previous business with Lancia, who were traditionally linked with Pininfarina, and he wanted to come into conversation with them. Bertone knew that Lancia was looking for a replacement for the aging Fulvia for use in rally sports, and so he designed an eye-catcher to show to Lancia. Bertone used the running gear of the Fulvia Cooper copyright of one of his personal friends and built a running showpiece around it. When Bertone himself appeared at the Lancia factory gates with the Stratos Zero, he passed underneath the barrier and got great applause from the Lancia workers. After that, a cooperation between Lancia and Bertone was decided to develop a new rally car based on ideas of Bertone Euro unregistered trademark S designer Marcello Gandini, who already had designed the Lamborghini Miura and Countach. Lancia presented the Bertone-designed Lancia Stratos HF prototype at the 1971 Turin Motor Show, a year after the announcement of the Stratos Zero concept car. The prototype Stratos HF was fluorescent red in color and featured a distinctive crescent-shaped wraparound windshield, providing maximum forward visibility with almost no rear visibility. The prototype had three different engines in its early development life: the Lancia Fulvia engine, the Lancia Beta engine, and finally, for the 1971 public announcement, the mid-mounted Dino Ferrari 5.6 producing 190 horsepower. The use of the Dino V6 was planned right from the beginning of the project, but Enzo Ferrari was reluctant to sign off the use of this engine in a car he saw as a competitor to his own Dino V6. After the production of the Dino car had ended, the Commendatore agreed on delivering the engines for the Stratos, and all of a sudden 500 engines were dumped on Lancia Euro unregistered trademark S-Store. The Stratos was a very successful rally car during the 1970s and early 1980s. It started a new era in rallying, as it was the first car designed from scratch for this kind of competition. The three leading men behind the entire rallying project were Lancia team manager Ser Fiorio, British racer engineer Mike Parks, and factory rally driver Sandro Maneri, with Bertone's designer Marcello Gandini taking a very personal interest in designing and producing the bodywork. Lancia did extensive testing with the Stratos and raced the car in several racing events where Group 5 prototypes were allowed during the 1972 and 1973 seasons. Production of the 500 cars required for homologation in Group 4 commenced in 1973, and the Stratos was homologated for the 1974 World Rally Championship season. The Ferrari Dino 5.6 engine was phased out in 1974, but 500 engines among the last built were delivered to Lancia. Production ended in 1975 when it was thought that only 492 were made. Manufacturer of the car was Bertone in Turin, with final assembly by Lancia at the Chivasso plant. Powered by the Dino 2.4L V6 engine that was also fitted to the rallying versions, but in a lower state of tune, it resulted in a power output of 190 horsepower, giving the road car a 100 km/h time of 6.8 seconds, and a top speed of 232 km/h. The car was sold as the Lancia Stratos HF Stradale. The Stratos weighed between 900 to 950 kilograms, depending on configuration. Power output was around 275 horsepower for the original 12-valve version and 320 horsepower for the 24-valve version. Beginning with the 1976 season, the 24-valve heads were banned from competition for being non-standard. Even with this perceived power deficit, the Stratos was the car to beat in competition, and when it did not suffer an accident or premature transmission failure, it had great chances to win. Despite the fact that the Stratos was never intended to be race car, there were two Group 5 racing car built with 560 horsepower, using a single KKK turbocharger. The car won the 1974, 1975 and 1976 championship titles in the hands of Sandro Munari and Paragraph RN Waldigi NRD, and might have gone on to win more had not internal politics within the Fiat Group placed rallying responsibility on the Fiat 131 Abarths. As well as victories on the 1975, 1976 and 1977 Monte Carlo Rally, all courtesy of Munari, the Stratos won the event with a private Chardonnay team as late as 1979. Without support from Fiat, and despite new regulations that restricted engine power, the car would remain a serious competitor and proved able to beat works cars in several occasions when entered by an experienced private team with a talented driver. The last victory of the Stratos was in 1981, at the Tour de Course Automobile, another World Rally Championship event, with a victory by longtime Stratos privateer Bernard Darnage. When the Fiat Group favored the Fiat 131 for rallying, Lancia also built two Group 5 turbocharged Silhouette Stratos for closed-track endurance racing. These cars failed against the Porsche 935s on closed tracks but proved successful in hybrid events. While they failed in the Tour de France Automobile, one of these cars won the 1976 Giro d'Italia Automobilistico, an Italian counterpart of the Tour de France Automobile. One of the cars was destroyed in Zeltweg, when it caught fire due to overheating problems. The last surviving car would win the Giro d'Italia event again before it was shipped to Japan to compete in the Fuji Speedway-based Formula Silhouette Series, which was never raced. The car would then be sold and reside in the Matsuda collection before then being sold to the renowned collector of Stratos, Christian Rabelk, a car designer and the founder of Phenomenon Limited, who has the largest Lancia Stratos collection in the world, 11 unique Lancia Stratos cars, including the fluorescent red 1971 factory prototype and the 1977 Safari rally car. His interest in the car led to the development of the Phenomenon Stratos in 2005. The Stratos also gained limited success in 24 Hours of Le Mans, with a car, driven by Christine Dacremont and Lele Lombardi, finishing 20th in 1976. Another unique Group 5 car is the Lancia Stratos HF of Austrian rallycross driver Andy Benzer. The car was first driven by his Memphis teammate Franz Wirtz, father of Formula One pilot Alexander Wirtz. In 1976, Wirtz claimed the first-ever European rallycross title recognized by the FIA with a car, by then still featuring a 2.4-liter engine with 12-valve head. For the ERC series of 1977, Wirtz was entrusted with an experimental 24-valve engine by Mike Parks, equipped with a special crankshaft to bring the engine capacity up to just under 3,000 cc's. For 1978, Benzer took the Stratos over from Wirtz, sold his own 2.4L12V Stratos to compatriot Renia Copyright Vontziner, and won the GT division title of the ERC. The one and only 3.0-liter Stratos worldwide was raced by Benzer till the end of 1983. After keeping the car for another 30 years, Benzer has sold the car to Alexander Wirtz, is currently undergoing a full restoration and will be converted to its 1976/1977 rallycross specs. Concept cars. Stratos Zero equals. The Lancia Stratos Zero preceded the Lancia Stratos HF prototype by 12 months and was first shown to the public at the Turin Motor Show in 1970. The futuristic bodywork was designed by Marcello Gandini, head designer at Bertone, and featured a 1.6L Lancia Fulvia 5.4 engine. The Lancia Stratos HF Zero stayed for a long time in Bertone's museum, and in 2011 was sold out during an auction in Italy for a 761.600. It was recently on display in the exhibit Sculpture in Motion, Masterpieces of Italian Design at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. It is currently on loan from the X.J. Wang collection at the High Museum of Art in Atlanta, Georgia at the Dream Cars exhibit unit September 2014. The body was wedge-shaped, finished in distinctive orange and was an unusually short, lengthened only 84 centimeters tall, and shared little with the production version. The Zero appeared in Michael Jackson's 1988 film, Moonwalker. Lancia Sibilo equals. In 1978, Bertone created and designed a concept car based on the Stratos called the Sibilo. Phenomenon Stratos at the Geneva Auto Show of 2005, a British design firm known as Phenomenon, who had rights to the name, exhibited a retromodern concept version of the Stratos, designed by Christian Rabelkind following its exhibition at the Frankfurt show, developed by ProDrive. The concept was based around a mid-mounted 419 horsepower V8. New Stratos following the stalled Phenomenon project, one interested backer funded a one-off model. Commissioned by Michael Stoschk and his son, Maximilian, the new Stratos was announced in 2010 based on the overall design and concept of the original 70s Stratos and was designed and developed by Pininfarina. The car made use of a Ferrari F430 Scuderia as a donor car, using the chassis resulting in a wheelbase of 2,400 mm, and much of the mechanical elements including the 4.3L V8 engine, tuned up to 540 horsepower at 8,200 rpms and torque of 519 Nm at 3,750 rpms. The new Stratos weighs 1,247 kilograms and is claimed to accelerate to 100 km per hour in 3.3 seconds and onto a top speed close to 200 miles per hour. While shorter than its donor car, the new Stratos is a little larger than the original Stratos, with a length of 4,181 mm, 1,971 mm wide and 1,240 mm tall. There were reports that given sufficient interest a small production run of up to 25 cars could be possible. However, Ferrari did not consent to this plan. The company even forbade its suppliers to support the project. Replicas. Over the years the Lancia Stratos has inspired several companies to build replicas or kit cars. In the February 1989 edition, the British car magazine tested a Stratos clone called HF 2000 by a company called Transformer. Since 2007 Hawk Cars Limited offer their HF 2000/HF 3000 series with a choice of Alfa Romeo, Lancia or Ferrari engines, including the original 2.4-litre V6 Dino engine. In a 2009 episode a Hawk HF 3000 was featured on British car TV show Top Gear. Other companies are Lister Bell Automotive, whose Stratos replicas are called STR, and Napier Sport Limited aka Super Stratos, who call their model the Course. Both are also offered with a choice of V6 or V8 engines. Sales or production numbers of the replicas are not reported. The Transformers Autobot wheeljack transformed from a robot into the 1976 Lancia Stratos Turbo Group 5 with Alitalia livery. WRC Victories Table. External links, high-res pictures of the Lancia Stratos Group 4 car, Stratos Enthusiasts Club, official new Stratos website. References